Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Kata Studio, welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. And as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. I tell you what, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Things have just been crazy this past week in the news. And okay, so here's the thing. If y'all's head on over to thehohoshow.com, just click on that newsfeed tab. You'll see my magazine on Flipboard, and there are like 63 freaking stories in there. And that's like twice as many as I usually have in the Flipboard magazine, you know, for quite some time. I mean, like I used to put a butt ton of stuff in there, and then I really started toning it down on how many stories I use in the magazine as reference points and news articles and things of that nature. But this one, there is just so much stuff going on, and I'm going to try to get through everything, but I can pretty well guarantee it. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not, I don't want to do another 2-hour show, guys. I mean, them things are like, holy crap. You know what I'm saying? Brian, hello over there in YouTube land. How you doing? He says, greetings, fellow infidel. Greetings. So yeah, there's a lot to get to. And in this first segment, I've got a lot of random stuff that I'm throwing together. Things that will be quite hilarious. And in all honesty, with most of them are things that I've kind of, well, let's just be honest. Most of the things that we're going to be talking about in this show are a culmination of a lot of things that's come to a head. And you all know how the mainstream media likes to work. You know, they don't really like to let us know what's going on. They don't like to tell us truth. They like to tell us propaganda. They like to tote the party line of the Democrats, and things have been happening at warp speed to the point to where they just can't really do that as good as what they used to could. You know, especially when we live in the day and age of this, it's the information age. You know, you have that ability using your cell phone to fact check in the moment what anybody says. And it's funny that mainstream media, that politicians really haven't picked up on this yet. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that we're going to be covering in this episode. And hello, Dave over there in Spreakerland. Good to see you. He says, hey, I'm in Spreaker for now. I'll try to be here for the duration. Awesome. Awesome. Good to see you over there. So let's just go ahead and get into it. And first, absolutely, I like to start the show with the satire. Y'all know how this works. Now, this isn't exactly satire. This is true story. And me being a truck driver, and I'm sure that Dave can attest to this over there in Spreaker land, that we see a lot of signs sometimes, and some of them are kind of weird. It's kind of neat that you have, various DOTs that puts the signs up there, and they try to make them catchy. They try to make them memorable. And this headline that I've seen from the dailymail.com, who signed off on this? Bizarre notices on billboards will make you do a double take, including a warning of zombies ahead. Yeah, you heard that right. And if I scroll on down a little bit, you get this one sign that says muddy when wet, and then another sign that was put on there underneath it that isn't the actual sign, by the way. This was something that was put on after the fact. Dusty when dry. Like we need a sign that says that. But, muddy when wet on a dirt road, you would think that would be kind of self-evident, right? You kind of think that people would be able to figure that out, but apparently they didn't think so. But here's this zombies ahead sign. And I've seen things like, signs on these construction signs. It's like, you'll never make it to work on time. Ha, 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 ha. Various things of that nature. And it's like, yeah. Now, those type of signs, the whole zombies ahead, I've not seen those type of signs out there. But I've definitely seen some stuff that DOT has put out there that were catchy. They were clever, but nothing to that extreme. And that kind of stuff, it makes me laugh. I don't know if it makes you laugh, but it makes me laugh. So now I'm going to go over to something about our favorite first son. This headline, and I actually have two of them up on this one, but the one I'm really going to be referring to is the one from the Daily Wire. It's got a lot of information in there, and to be honest with you, the headline just makes more sense. Headline: struggling artist Hunter Biden asks for lower child support payments. Oh no. Oh, we got to feel so sorry for this struggling artist. It's not like he's the son, the first son, the son of the president of the United States of America. It's not like he, was the son of the former vice president who was in office for 8 years. It's not like, that he is the son of somebody whom has been a senator for the majority, if not every single last bit of his life. It's not like he's been on the public dole for a long time, using his father as using his relationship with his dad in order to get his foot in the door and a lot of different things that he has done, including being on Burisma, the board of Burisma, which was an energy company in Ukraine. Even when asked, do you have any energy background experience? No. Do you have any financial experience? No. Do you have any investment experience at all? Anything? No. Why do you think you got this job? I have no idea why I got this job. Do you think it had to do with your dad being Joe Biden? At the time, I believe he was vice president. He's like, that probably had something to do with it. You think? And here he is, struggling artist. They're wanting to paint the picture a little bit differently. He's asking for lower child support payments. Now, his claim is that, when his child support payments were instituted, it was back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Let me scroll on down a little bit into the article. I'm looking, 2019, November of 2019, he claimed that, he wasn't making near the amount of money now that he was back then. So now, obviously you've got to redo this. And pretty much it was kind of an aspect of, and I don't 100% remember if this was the judge or if this was the attorney that was like, dude, you can afford it. You're Joe Biden's son. And if you want to get out of this, then we're going to have to do a forensic investigation on your financial reports. You know, your, what's that thing called? Let me scroll on down here a little bit. Accounting. Yeah, something like that. It's like, yeah, he was making a lot of money, and now he's not doing that. Now he's an out of work artist, you know, and he's not really selling all that much. And of which case, whether he is or he isn't, we don't know. And we're probably never going to know. Why? Because, let's face it, you know, that they are closing the books on all bids, on all sales, on all of his art. So we don't know who's spending the money. We cannot confirm nor deny if any of these payments are pay-for-play access to his dad. We already know through the Hunter laptop that there absolutely was pay-for-play going on. This stuff has already been made clear. This stuff has already been talked about. It's been confirmed. It's been leaked. We know this. And it's also been confirmed that the whole 10% to the big guy that they were talking about, the big guy was Joe Biden. Laws have been breaking. Bribery, isn't that a legitimate, impeachable offense? I mean, hell, didn't they try to impeach, former President Trump of quid pro quo in dealing with the Ukraine, because, we know that there's been corruption and we would really like it for you to look into it because our government doesn't seem to be motivated to do that. I'd really like your help in, trying to get to the bottom of some of the corruption and who's been involved in this on our side. I would like your help in doing that. There wasn't anything wrong with that phone call. The money was given. Was it quid pro quo? Well, here's the thing. If there's a quo, there's got to be a quid. And if there is no quid, then is there really a quo? How can you say that? Because quid pro quo is this for that, tit for tat. That's what it is. Every transaction that has ever been made, anytime you buy anything, you go to the store, that is a quid pro quo. We've talked about this. But you also have that same individual, President Joe Biden, who was on, had an interview on national television that he was bragging about not giving financial aid to Ukraine. Well, if you want this money, then you're going to fire this investigator who's investigating Burisma. Might I remind you, Burisma was the company that his son Hunter Biden was on the board of, making a butt ton of money. For what? We have no idea. But he bragged and said that if you want this money, you're going to fire that prosecutor. And then he bragged and said, well, the son of a bitch did it. Holy crap. That was a quid pro quo. He was asking personal, because it involved his son, not even a legitimate, or if you would consider it a legitimate, corruption to root out the corruption that is in both of the governments. But for some reason, it was quid pro quo whenever Trump did it, but whenever Biden actually did it, it's acceptable and okay. Now, here's another story that I got. This one's from NPR, Illinois 91.9 UIS. Okay. This headline, now this is something that, this is stuff that we've covered in previous shows. But as the truth eventually does, it comes out. No matter how hard you try to hide it, no matter how hard you try to cover it up, yes, you're still going to have people that will believe the lie and would die to defend the lie, even though the truth is so abundantly clear, it's painfully obvious. But what you have is this article, again from NPR. Scientists debate how lethal COVID is. Some say it's now less risky than the flu. Now, again, guys, this is something that I've been talking about for a while. That in the Journal of Medicine, I think is what it is, the COVID virus is actually put in there under a flu. It's a fluenza. It's a flu type of a virus. It's a respiratory type of a virus. That's what it is. And if the COVID was so deadly, if it was so dangerous, then why didn't the numbers match how bad they were trying to say that it was? But we didn't have numbers that were that bad. And I mean, granted, guys, I mean, I know that there were people that died from it. And I'm not trying to belittle their death. And I'm not trying to make light of the tragedy that happened. Yes, every single life is a tragedy. But, they say that, everything that you say before you say the word but no longer matters. Yeah, whatever. The numbers don't say that this was that bad. We have people every year that die from the flu. We have people every year that die from the cold. We have people that die every year from all kinds of things. Different, various sicknesses, diseases, bacterial infections, virus infections. It happens. I'm not trying to belittle that tragedy because it is a tragedy. But what I'm saying is the numbers are out. And the numbers are clear. The numbers don't reflect that this was well, let's just call it what it is. It wasn't a virus that had a death rate that would justify destroying a nation's economy. Several nations' economy. I mean, good grief, people. They won't even actually, follow through and investigate the Wuhan lab. I mean, yeah, it's been discovered. It's been found out, information that has been leaked that yes, Anthony Fauci, using government money, funded, what's that called? You guys just seen, the train leave the station on that one, and my brain was left behind. The gain of function research, yeah, that's what it is. We've had this confirmed that, yes, Fauci, using our money, U.S. taxpayer money, paid for gain of function research this money was given to the Wuhan lab. What they haven't been able to definitively prove yet is that it was that Wuhan lab that the virus escaped from. But it's also like just like who was it? Jon Stewart, whoever that guy's name was, the comedian guy that was like, the virus was called the Wuhan novel coronavirus. There is a novel Wuhan lab in Wuhan. The virus is named after the lab. It's kind of clear that they already understand that it came from there. It's kind of pretty clear. They're doing the very research. You all know this. You understand it. So yeah, the information's coming out. It's clear as a nose on their face that they're being found out. They can't hide from the truth anymore. What they're actually hoping for is that the people have the memory the size of a peanut. You know, kind of like what Hillary Clinton in talking about 13 hours and what happened 10 years ago at Benghazi with the people that died. What difference at this point is it going to make? Why hold me accountable now for what I did way back then? It's not going to change anything. The damage has already been done. Just let me go ahead and sit in the driver's seat and continue to drive this bus on straight down to hell. That's what they're saying. And that's what they're saying now. Yeah, we screwed up, but we didn't screw up because we did this on purpose. What are you going to do about it? You ain't going to do nothing about it. Because all you stupid, idiotic people care about is the D and the R in front of the name. They don't care about the individual. They don't care about any of it. That's what we got. So now we're going to move to something that's a little bit closer to home for me. You know, I live in the great state. Sorry. I live in the great state of, I'm having a hard time saying, California. You know, where most people think that Chicago is actually the state capital, when in fact it's Springfield, you know, Illinois. This headline from Yahoo News: Illinois becomes the first state to pass the Purge law. You always remember that movie, The Purge. You know, you got what, The Purge, The Purge 2, you know, Election Day, the first Purge. You know, I think there's a TV series now called The Purge. You know, you guys understand, you know, where all crime is legal for, what is it, 12 hours, or I think it's 12 hours. From like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., I think is what it is for 12 hours, you know, up to and including murder. Illinois is now the Purge state. So if you live in the great state of Illinois, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you right now, if you ain't got a gun, get a gun. If you ain't got your concealed carry, get your concealed carry. I would hate to know what gun ownership, concealed carry, how much it jumps up with this law passing. Now, this headline came out Friday, September 16th. So that came out yesterday. All right. And I heard about it very quickly after it happened. People called me up almost immediately like, dude, did you hear about this? Hear about what? The Purge is coming to Illinois. What the hell are you talking about? And then I look, and then I see this article. Are you freaking kidding me? Illinois is passing a law that some would say will make history. Illinois is looking to be the first state in the United States to abolish cash bail. And the consequences of passing such a law have many believing the state could mirror the horror movie, The Purge. What am I talking about? I already talked about the stuff on here of what The Purge is. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, we all know this. But what they pass is cashless bail for 12 different non-detainable offenses. The law includes second-degree murder, arson, drug-induced homicide, robbery, kidnapping, aggravated battery, burglary, intimidation, aggravated driving under the influence, fleeing and eluding, drug offenses, and threatening a public official. These are all the things that Illinois just passed, or our cashless bail, that all they will do is, if you are arrested for any of these crimes, any of these 12 crimes, including second-degree murder, that they will arrest you, they will book you, and process you, you know, print you and mugshot you and all this other kind of stuff, and they're going to turn around and let you go. They're not going to detain you. They're not going to do anything like that. They're going to book you, process you, and release you. No bail necessary. No holding. You ain't going to jail. You're just getting processed and released. What are we coming to? Is this the world that we're wanting to live in? Those of you that live in Illinois, is this what you want? And to be honest with you, I'm shocked that this came. Well, I can't really say that because I mean there's a lot of this kind of stuff going on in other states as well. But as bad as Illinois is, I'm just going to be honest with you on this one. As bad as Illinois is, we still have some things that are good, like our taxes, for instance. Okay, our state taxes is a flat tax. It's not a graduated tax. It's not like what we have on the federal level. It's a flat tax. Everybody pays the exact same percentage of their taxes across the board, no matter how much you make, no matter what your financial circumstances is. There is no separation between the different poverty levels. It's the same. It's a flat tax. We have that. The most constitutional way to do taxes. We have that. I give it up to Illinois for that. They've actually tried to do away with that. Because I remember, what was it? Brian, maybe you can help me out on this. I think it was, I don't remember if it was 2016 or 2020. It was one of those 2 years, 2016 or 2020. With the presidential election, they put that on the ballot. Do you want this? Do you want to go from a flat tax to a progressive what did they call that? There was a spiffy word they threw in there. It's a graduated whatever. The spiffy word, insert that, whatever that is. You smarter people than me, then you can insert that word. But we have a flat tax. And to my astonishment, to my amazement, to my perplexity and my flabbergastness, the people actually said that no, the people in Illinois want to keep the flat tax. And what was hilarious was, got to take a drink of my sweet tea. What was amazing is that they tried to throw this propaganda bull snarky in there to try to convince people that this graduated income tax was going to be a great thing that was going to benefit everybody. Even though we already see on a national level that what you have is rich people, those in the upper, 70, 80, 90% that really don't pay their fair share because within that progressive tax code, there's all kinds of loopholes to get them out of paying taxes. You have the poor, which are completely benefit from the tax code because they get more money than they put in. So they're not paying taxes. They're receiving money. They're living off of the government dole. I got to put this in there. Hold on a second. That just reminded me of something. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. Hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, I had to write that down because if I didn't, I was going to forget about it, and I forgot to put this in my handy dandy recorder to help my mind remember things because I forget because I'm an idiot. So I had to throw that out there. I had to write that down because that was a good point that I'm going to bring up later in the show. So it's going to be a surprise. Shh, don't tell anybody. And who suffers from this? People in the middle class. Specifically, the upper middle class, because they're the ones that are making the majority of the money, but yet they don't really benefit from a lot of the loopholes that help you save money, and they don't have enough money in order to pay for the really expensive lawyers and accountants to help them keep a lot of that money. Because there's also one of them things, too, whenever it comes to a graduated, progressive, layered type of income tax that it's designed to favor the richer among us. Whatever percentage level, whatever that is, I don't know. It kind of varies from state to state and what type of deductions and write-offs you're talking about. But I remember that there are deductions out there that unless you spend so much money, you can't benefit from this deduction. Like, it's not a deduction that is available all across the board from top to bottom. It depends on how much money you spend. So if you want this deduction that'll save you the taxes of these purchases, well, you have to have at least spent this amount of money. That's not constitutional. That's not constitutional whatsoever, but yet they do it. Equal protection under the law, equal application under the law, equal representation under the law. All of these things don't mean jack diddly squat on April 15th. April 15th, is that tax day? Yeah, see? Yeah. So get your gun. And here was the thing where I was kind of going with that. I'm surprised this went to Illinois first, and this didn't technically become a thing in California or some other states out there. I mean, that might be how things operate, but they don't operate that way by law, or at least not to my knowledge. I could be wrong on that. For those of you that live in some of these other states, let me know down in the comments. That'd be awesome. I'll include that on the next show. But Illinois is the first state to put this as part of law, telling the citizens of this state, telling everybody that, look, criminals mean more to us than law-abiding citizens. That's what they're telling us. That's what they are telling each and every one of the residents in Illinois, that criminals who want to take your life, take your things, beat the crap out of you, these people mean more to us as the Democrat Party than what law-abiding citizens do. How does that make you feel? Get a gun. Get your concealed carry. Because they can kill you, and within however much amount of time it takes for them to process you downtown, they will let them go for them to do it again to somebody else. And whose hands is these people's blood on? Not the person who may have to be forced to pull that trigger, but the blood is going to be on the hands of the politicians. And not in some small measure, but on us that live in Illinois too. Because we let it happen. I mean, not me. I didn't vote for this kind of crap. And most of the people that I know that live in Illinois didn't vote for this kind of crap. All this stuff came from Cook County, Champaign County, and I think there's one or two other ones. It's basically, Peoria, Champaign, and the greater Chicago area. That's where all of this liberal crap comes from. Unfortunately, they outpopulate the rest of the freaking state. None of us want the kind of crap that's going on in Chicago. None of us do. We wish they would just split the state, northern Illinois and southern Illinois. I am all game for that. That's been put on the ballot I don't even know how many times. Hasn't happened yet, unfortunately. We're waiting. We are waiting. One of these days, it's bound to happen. I freaking hope so. Man, do I ever hope so. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when we return, we are going to be talking about some information with the Trump Mar-a-Lago raise, some stuff that I, kind of talked about last week, and it's kind of been confirmed this week. We're going to talk about that right after I find a song to play. There we go. All right, so 1 minute. Be right back. Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. All right, and we are back. Guys, I apologize for the silence right there for a brief second. I legit hit the wrong button, and then I'm like, This is my first time doing the show. I mean, mistakes happen. I've never done this before. I'm flying. I'm doing this by the seat of my pants. I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. You believe me, right? Yeah. Anyway, we're just going to dive into this. I did forget a story in the last segment talking about climate change, but again, we've kind of covered this again. Hypocrisy is the theme for today's show. Hypocrisy. And there's a doozy of a hypocrisy coming up at the end of this segment that we're going to talk about, which is absolutely hilarious. Not hilarious, funny, ha-ha, but it's more of a, this is so pathetic. And I'm a guy, and that's one of the things that we do. Things tick us off to the point of just making us want to break things. And the only thing that we've got in our arsenal to kind of refrain ourselves is humor. That's why we've got we've got some morbid senses of humor out there. Some of us kind of twisted, but that's why. That's why. Let's continue. We are going to start off with this one. Now, I went into some depth talking about this last week. That the as laid out per the Constitution, the job of the executive branch is to represent the nation as a whole. In dealing with Congress, the job of the Senate was originally to represent the states and their interest. The job of the lower house of Congress, the House of Representatives, is to represent the people of those states. And the job, per the Constitution, of the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, is to represent the Constitution and to make sure that both the executive branch isn't overstepping its constitutional bounds, nor the legislative branch overstepping its constitutional bounds by writing laws that are like, we're going to ban assault weapons. Hey, I'm sorry, but that violates the Second Amendment. What do you think? That people should just own a tank? Abso-freaking-lutely, I do. I want to own one. What the libtards on the left don't seem to understand is that I can own a Barrett 50 cal right now. Will I? No. For two reasons. One, I don't have a county big enough to shoot it in. I don't own that much land. And two, it's the price point, stupid. If you can't afford one, you ain't going to buy one. So you just kind of put the price point of the things that you would think would be, maybe we shouldn't own this. And you price point that out of the hands, which, hey, the free market's going to do that by itself anyway. There's no need to, put a huge tax on something, which is what they're doing to us in order to take it out of the hands of everyday citizens being able to afford it. This is what they're doing with handguns in some cities right now as it is. Pricing it, taxing it to a point to where people can't afford it. And in a lot of these cases, if people can't afford it, the people whom need the protection of a firearm the most. Okay. But this headline from the Washington Times. Wait a second. I need to make sure that, let's shut that off. Otherwise, I'm going to do a boo-boo. Washington Times, most U.S. adults can't name the three branches of government, survey finds. Here's the thing, guys. Sorry about that. Here's the thing, ladies and gents. This is kind of what it boils down to. Let me talk to you. Our government has been in control of education ever since 1978. That's whenever the Department of Education was formed. And ever since then, they have been taking more and more control over how education is done. Now, here's the thing. You know, if you want people all across the board to not know what their freedoms are, so that this way, whenever you take them away from them, they don't really know that their rights are being infringed upon, then what would you do? Well, teach a different set of, rules to the masses. You would teach different things to the masses to where they would think the way you want them to think, that your education system would be less about education and more about indoctrination. That's what you would do if you truly wanted to slowly whittle away on freedom. Fact of the matter is, prior to the Revolutionary War, we had more freedoms than what we have now. Oh, well, idiot, we've got more people here too. So, density kind of goes across the board. We have some highly, populated areas, not like New York City, but we had highly populated places. But even still, even where I live, we've got more restrictions on our liberties and our freedom than what we had prior to the Revolutionary War. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. But that's what you do. If we don't know what our freedoms are, what our founding fathers truly had intended on us, then how would we combat those rights and freedoms being taken away? We wouldn't know. That's the whole point. Now here's the thing, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know where I actually intended on putting this article in with the stuff, but from MS, I'm sure that y'all have seen that headline pop up on the screen that U.S. Senate Republicans introduced nationwide abortion ban. This once hypothetical nightmare is here, and I got to be honest with you. It was Senator Lindsey Graham who introduced this, and this was an abortion ban on abortions past 15 months of pregnancy, unless it is, rape, incest, or mother's life was in danger. Things that most Americans truly do believe in, and would actually make us a lot like most European nations on the abortion bans and restrictions that they have. That's true. But here's the thing, and this is why I have a problem with it, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that have a problem with it too. We just got Roe v. Wade overturned. Was Roe v. Wade overturned so that this way we can put an abortion ban nationally? No. Roe v. Wade was overturned because this was none of the federal government's business. The 10th Amendment says that this is a state issue. This is not a national issue. This is a problem for the states to figure out on their own. If there are some states in there that want to have as loose a restrictions as they could possibly get away with, then that's what they should do. My personal beliefs aside, if you're a state that wants to have 0 abortions, regardless of anything, then that's what they should be able to do. My personal beliefs don't matter. And if you don't like those said laws that either individual state has, then you have the freedom to move your happy little butt elsewhere. We have freedom in this nation. It's not a one-way street, don't you know? It's amazing how in this nation we seem to think that freedom of is synonymous with freedom from, and that's just not what the Constitution grants us. The freedom of religious freedom, but not the freedom from religion. You have the freedom of speech, but that doesn't grant you the freedom from speech. So your soft little microaggression trigger warning crap can go elsewhere. Grow the hell up. Now, I don't agree with what Senator Graham is doing. I think that he's an absolute tool. I've not liked him since day one. He does the political expedient thing at the time, and that's what he has been doing since I first read his name in a newspaper article. That's what he does. That's who he is. He's no fan of the conservative cause. He is no ally of conservatism. He's only a Republican when it politically suits him. He sides with the Democrats enough that as a conservative, I don't know what the heck he is as far as what his political leanings are. It just kind of depends on the topics, and that's, kind of like the Clintons whenever it came to, what they felt on abortion, that it kind of changed with the times. Kind of like gay marriage. It kind of changed with the times. When it was politically advantageous to them, they changed their views. Did they actually change their view? No. They just went what was more politically advantageous to them at the time. So for him to do this, it makes you wonder, what the heck is he doing? Like I said earlier in the segment, we just got done overturning Roe versus Wade. This was the right move for democracy. The unelected people writing laws from the bench shouldn't be doing that. That's not their constitutionally, that's not what they're supposed to be doing. That's supposed to be done by the legislative branch. But this is not within the purview of what the U.S. Congress is supposed to be doing. This is a state level thing. Why are you trying to make it a national thing again whenever we just said, no, we're not doing that? Some have argued that maybe, just maybe, Lindsey Graham is kind of trying to benefit the Democrats. I don't necessarily know as if even if that sentiment was true, whether it would actually be effective or not, I don't know. But he's not helping his chances for re-election. That one I'll pretty much guarantee you, because we the people, conservatives, Republicans, libertarians alike, we're getting kind of fed up with rhino Republicans, ones that aren't really Republicans, that lean more Democrat, that only do this thing when, the ones who go out on the campaign trail, make all kinds of promises, but whenever they get to Washington, D.C., they forget about all the promises they just got done making. We're getting sick and tired of that. We've had enough. We are holding y'all's feet to the fire, proverbial or otherwise. Who the hell knows? I guess we'll find out, won't we? This headline from Newsmax. Now we're going to get into a little bit about the Mar-a-Lago stuff. First, before we get into this article, let me premise a little bit of something. The deep state, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is real, okay? The deep state are people, bureaucrats, who are not beholden to the people. We are supposed to be a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And a safeguard that our founding fathers never put in the Constitution because they never never envisioned a world where this would happen. Okay? Case in point, I'm a truck driver. There's this little green book that rules my life. DOT rules and regulations. Okay? It rules my life. It carries the weight of law. This is the book that I have to abide by every single minute of every single day. I am not being facetious. That's how it is. Ask a truck driver. Every single minute is accounted on your logbook, on whether we are working, whether we are off, whether we are driving, or whether we are in our sleeper berth. Every single minute of every single day is accounted. It used to be down to 15-minute blocks. Now it's down to the second because we have ELDs. Every second of every day is logged with our work status. These were not orders or laws that were written by the legislative branch. Now, that's what the legislative branch's job is to write laws. But these regulations were written by the executive branch that carry the full weight of law. You violate it, you go to prison. You lose your ability to make money, to work your job. That's the same thing as a law. It's unconstitutional, but it's the world we live in. For some reason, we've accepted it as just the way that it is. Again, we don't teach civics very well in our school system. Why? Because the government doesn't want us to know these things. But anyway, let me continue. What our founding fathers ultimately believed was that it would be a power grab of people trying to get more power in Washington. And so there was no need to put these type of safeguards in the Constitution because they thought it would be a continual tug-of-war match. Didn't end up being the case. Because as what they decided they were going to do is pass a lot of their control off to the executive branch and allow the judicial branch to even write laws from the bench. Hence, Roe v. Wade. That was legislating from the bench. That's unconstitutional, but it was allowed and it was accepted. And people were like, yeah, sure. We'll do this. Why not? Let's play this game. But the whole aspect of it was they didn't want to be held politically accountable for these regulations that were written. I mean, more than 3 times, actually more than 10 times, the regulations are written by the executive branch than laws that are written by the legislative branch. That's a sad state of affairs, guys. 90% of what you have to abide by are in the form of regulation, not the form of law. But we'll continue. So they didn't want to be held accountable to these rules and laws and regulations that you had to abide by. So that's why they let the executive branch take that power. But here's the thing. The executive branch really didn't want to be held accountable for that kind of stuff either. So as what they did is they established bureaucracies. The Department of Education, Department of Transportation, Department of Homeland Security, the Department of the Interior, the Department of this, the Department of that, and the Department of the Rubber. That's what they did. And as what they further did was, even though all these various departments of the executive branch are supposed to serve of the pleasure of the president, meaning the president is supposed to have full say in how it operates, they wanted there to be a further layer of protection so that the president can more or less plea things like, well, it's not, it's out of my hands. It's out of my control. That whole plausible deniability type of a thing. That's what they wanted. So is what the legislatures did, the House of Representatives and the senators, they put this little rule in there saying that even though you serve at the pleasure of the president can't fire you if you refuse to do the job he wants you to do. They have protections in there. That's why you don't see people in the higher echelon of these bureaucracies actually get fired for screwing up. They kind of get, promoted per se, but they get, they don't get fired. They get promoted sideways. They might not move up. They don't really move down, but they kind of get promoted sideways. They go somewhere else to a different branch, a different department. And that's what they do. The deep state has grown to a point to where they can protect themselves. One of the things President Trump wanted to do, which is why they wanted to kick him out, which is why they went along with the whole fake Russia dossier that was put together by the Clinton campaign. This article from Newsmax, Representative Bishop to Newsmax, FBI needs to be decentralized, and I completely agree with that, because the fact of the matter is they have broken the law. They're under review right now. The Washington field office is under review for their conduct regarding the illegal search of the Mar-a-Lago property. Something needs to be done about this. And that's one of the things that President Trump was trying to do, was drain the swamp. Make it to where these safeguards that allowed these people to stay in office no matter who the president was, that they can do whatever they wanted to without being held accountable. I mean, these are bureaucrats that are not beholden to we the people. This is supposed to be government of the people, for the people, by the people, but we have bureaucrats in charge of the majority of the lawmaking and how everything is run and operated in this country from top to bottom. That's not what our founding fathers wanted. That's not what they built. But that has been acceptable practice for far too long. The deep state has been allowed to get away with this for too long. People's heads have been in the sand. They've just been comfortable with how things operate. And now it's kind of biting us in the ass, isn't it? I mean, now we have political refugees in this country, people that are still in prison over January 6th, and not a single person has been prosecuted for insurrection, even though that's what they say that it is. You know, January 6th, insurrection, bad, but the summer of peace brought to you by Black Lives Matter in every major city, USA, was perfectly okay, mostly peaceful protests, even though they attacked government buildings, set fire to police stations, burned down courthouses, but yet it was mostly peaceful. The summer of love, ladies and gentlemen. And all that's okay. Hypocrisy. I know that you can. Dave puts in here, he goes, remember we have a Department of Truth. Oh, yes. The 1984. What was that guy's name who authored that? But the Department of Truth for a short time this year. Yep, and I do remember that. And that department was supposed to be run by this crazy person. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I do remember that, Dave. Absolutely, I remember that. The Department of Truth, and it was, I wish I remembered that guy's name, the one who wrote that. Yeah, I don't remember his name right now. It'll come to me later on in the show. I know how my mind works. You know, I got to let that train come back around. It'll think about it. Yep, nope, didn't happen. So moving on. Oh, yeah, the headline needs to be decentralized. And there's a lot of things that need to be decentralized. But also, here's the thing, though, too, and this is another thing that they don't like. George Orwell, thank you, Dave. You're amazing. George Orwell, 1984, that's what he was talking about, the Ministry of Truth. That's what they had back then. Who would have thought that dystopian novel would have been a playbook that they would have used to, set some things in motion? Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, wow. The world we're living in, you know what I mean? But here's the thing now. With as how screwed up as all this is, we the people still do have technically the power. What I mean by that is simply this. The IRS just hired, more than doubled their workforce. I think prior to this, this big hiring spree that they're going through right now, they had somewhere around 82,000 people, and they just got the approval to hire 87,000 more agents, over doubling the size of them. I don't remember what I said with 82, whatever. It's 82,000 agents, IRS agents, working in the IRS. I mean, where else is an IRS agent going to operate at? There are times I really do sound like an idiot. It is so great. But yeah. But we have the power Just like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, I have the power. We have the power to defund them because let's not forget, within the House of Representatives lies the power, the sole power of the purse. All we got to do is defund them. That's what we got to do. So even though they may have, and here's the thing though too, here's one of the partial problems, okay, is because the legislative branch are very, very good about writing laws that are extremely vague. Extremely vague. Giving basically all power and authority to get the fine details to these various agencies when it comes to how they're going to carry out and execute this law. They do that on purpose. Why? Because the devil's in the details, and they don't want to be held accountable for these details. That's why they do that. Well, they had no idea that this branch of government in the executive branch was going to operate in the way that it was. It's not our fault that they did. Well, you wrote the law that allowed them to interpret it any way they wanted to. Well, how was we supposed to know? Are you an idiot? Well, I don't think so. Well, of course you don't think so. But you seem to be operating like one all the freaking time, don't you? They know. Let me let you in on a little secret. Okay? I want to let you in on a little secret. They know full well what they're doing. They know what they're doing. These people aren't idiots. You know what I mean? Do you think that Joe Biden, I mean, yeah, he might be a little out of it today. He might be struggling, cognitively. He might be having issues left, right, and the other. But believe me, he didn't spend all this time in Washington, D.C. as a complete and utter moron. He knows how the game is played, and he plays it. I mean, granted, yes, they have this idiot person that I don't remember if he's in the Senate or if he's in Congress. I have no idea where he is, but he actually was upset about the Marines or the Navy having too many people on an island because he was afraid the island was going to capsize. And yeah, this guy was a congressman. You know, I know I just said that these people aren't idiots whenever they got people that are that stupid representing us. Lord knows how that happened. And man, I tell you what, I give it up to the person that was being questioned, because this was, an oversight committee, I believe, oversight hearing. I believe that, but I give it up to the guy that he was talking about, the admiral or the general or whoever it was, that he was actually questioning about this. Whenever he said that I'm concerned about the amount of people on this island because it could just capsize. He kept a straight face through the entire time. I don't think I would have done, I don't think I'd have been able to do that at all. Yes, and there are people that stupid that are, anyway. Because is what we have going on right now in our government is the weaponizing for political gain of these departments, the IRS, Department of Education, the FBI, the Department of Justice. They are weaponizing him against their political adversaries. Who are their political adversaries? Conservatives, libertarians, card-toting Republicans. Not rhinos, not the establishment Republicans, but the card-toting Republicans of we the people. That's who they're against. No, I don't remember that. Dave put in there, he goes, do you remember The View had a co-host who thought the earth was flat? I do not remember that. I mean, I'm not surprised they got the likes of Whoopi Goldberg, which, I mean, let's face it, she stouts off so much crap that it's not even funny. But, no, I did not know that they actually had somebody who thought the earth was flat, which was amazing because they're like, we are going to spread the word of flat earth around the globe. Dude, did you just hear yourself on that? You acknowledged that it was a globe, which is a sphere by definition. And yet you claim to be a flat earther. That makes no sense, dude. Sherry Shepherd. Okay. I have to look her up. I'm going to have to. Now you got me curious, Dave. Thank you for that. I'm going to be looking that up a little later. But now we have this. Now this is something that I hinted to and I had heard about last week. This wasn't something that was me. I didn't come up with this. I didn't have this. This is not one of my original thoughts. This was something that Andrew Wilkow, the Wilkow Majority, on Sirius XM channel 125 between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. Central Time. That is noon to 3 Eastern. And then you do the math on everywhere else on that. But this is something that he alluded to. And I'm like, you have a point. I would very much go as far as to say that there's probably a lot of that kind of crap, of the classified information that they said that former President Trump had in his possession at Mar-a-Lago. This headline from Raw Story, there we go. I had to get rid of a pop-up on there. Shocking. J6 member stunned by latest bombshell on Trump's team claiming docs were only newspaper clippings. That's one of the things that we talked about last week. Was that there's a difference between information that has been deemed classified just because of what it's talking about and documents that are called sensitive. Because if this is a document that was pulled from a newspaper, a magazine, this is public information. If this is a printout from a Wikipedia page, this isn't sensitive. They shouldn't be classifying this as classified because it's not sensitive. It doesn't give any sensitive information away. Why is it being deemed classified? A lot of times it's only being deemed classified because it's being handed to the president to let him know of what's going on out there. It's not being deemed classified because of what it is, a news article, or even what it's talking about. Nuclear capabilities of a foreign nation. It's only been deemed classified because of where it is. The president's morning briefing. And that's what the suspicion was. That's what was suspected by people. Is it that is what was going on a lot of these things that they deemed classified. And again, President Trump said that I declassified this stuff. This isn't classified information anymore. And here's the thing, too. I talked about this on several shows ago. I'm sure you may remember. But in dealing with a lot of these things that I really don't want to hear it when it comes to President Trump violated this stuff. This headline, which is not really a headline. This is a video that you can check out on the flipboards. But Hillary Clinton on Trump stealing classified documents, cut the hypocrisy. This is a threat to our national security. Now, you would think that this would be the reporter saying that about Hillary Clinton. No, this is what was said by Hillary Clinton. Cut the hypocrisy. This is a threat to our national security. Hello, woman. Aren't you the one that destroyed cell phones, hard drives, took a hammer to things, cut them up with skizzers, used bleach bit on them, just destroyed hard drives and deleted files and cut all kinds of things. confirmed that you had thousands upon thousands, over 30,000 classified documents on your personal hard drive. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you realize this, but I sure as hell do. They want to go after Trump for these classified documents, which may or may not be classified documents, but that's not what my point is. But yet they want to claim that, oh, well, Hillary didn't mean to do anything. There was no, we didn't uncover anything in our investigation that would prove intent. Hello? She destroyed evidence. She took hammers to government property, to personal property. She deleted these things. She used BleachBit on these things, which is a program that does multiple layer deleting and overwriting. That's how you delete something, guys. Let me tell you, that's how you delete something. Because just hitting the delete on your computer doesn't delete jack diddly squat. What you have to do in order to truly delete something to where you will never be able to find it on your hard drive is basically do a delete, an O-fill, a delete, O-fill, a delete, and O-fill. You do a zero fill and a delete like a minimum of 7 times. That way, everything that is underneath those 7 layers of zero fill is gone. You cannot retrieve it. What do I mean by that? Well, see, here's the thing. Whenever you delete something on your computer, all it does is take it out of the directory. The information's still there. It's like taking something out of your file folder. I got one. Hold on a second. Is what it does is deleting a file on your hard drive is nothing more than taking out your file folder, you rip off the label, and then you put it back in. The information, the contents of the file folder is still there. It's still on your hard drive. In order to get rid of it, it has to be overwritten. And unless it is overwritten so many times, it can still be retrieved, or at least bits and pieces of it can. So what BleachBit does is it allows you the ability to overwrite, delete, to where you can overwrite again. You do that so many times, you ain't recovering that information for nothing. And that's what Hillary Clinton did with those emails that she deleted. And yet they were still able to recover at least 30,000 of them because she apparently didn't do a very good job. She probably didn't understand how hard drives, servers work, because you may have 3 hard drives that has all the information duplicated multiple times. It's called redundancy. She probably didn't know that. She probably didn't delete enough information off of there from enough hard drives. She probably thought just deleting it once or maybe twice was safe, whenever what you really need to do if you're rating a system is you got to do it 3 or 4 times, because that's how many times it's on there. I know too much. I've said too much. But she knew what she was doing. She covered it up. Her actions scream from the rooftop that she knew what she was doing. And yet, the director of the FBI said, I don't recommend charges being done because she didn't mean to do anything. She didn't have any intention of actually breaking the law. I thought the C meant something else for classified. I didn't think it meant classified. I thought it meant something else. But here's the thing, okay? You want to go after Trump for his documents? Okay, let's play that game. Let's go after Hillary Clinton for having all of those files on her hard drives. They found them. Over 30,000 documents, deleted documents that she had. Let's go after Hillary Clinton. I'll do you one better. Let's go after Joe Biden, Obama, every single member of the Obama administration also violated copy or classification laws. It wasn't just Hillary Clinton, it was every single one of them. Why didn't they go after Hillary Clinton? Because they would have taken down the entirety of the Obama administration, because every single person who sent an email, how did these 30,000 emails get on Hillary at Hillary Clinton or Hillary at the Clintons.com? How did they get there? Well, somebody sent it to them. That's also mishandling classified information, because as soon as they put that in an email and hit send to her personal email, they were breaking the law too. That's Obama. That's Biden. That's the entirety of the Obama administration. You're talking heads of various departments like the FBI, like Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice. All of these people would also be charged with a crime because they mishandled classified documents. Every single person that sent documents to Hillary Clinton, hear me, broke the law. So if you're going to go after Trump, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let's go after everybody that has broke it. Not just Republicans. But yet they want to say that we're not playing political favoritism here. We're not doing the dirty work of the Democrats in doing this. This is us going back to our roots of actually adhering to and following the law. If this is adhering to and following the law, then why is it every single time you're following the law, a Republican, a conservative gets punished? This is political hardball. They're peeing on you and they're telling you that it's rain. And you're just supposed to sing it in the rain and be happy about it. I'm getting pissed on. Don't lie to me. Hello? That's what's going on, people. That legit is what's going on. Can you say hypocrisy much? I know that you can. I know that you can. So pretty. We're going to take a quick break. And when I return, we are going to be talking about, this is going to be good. We're going to be, man, I tell you what, I have spent so much time just screaming at the radio this week. I've spent a lot. It's like, oh my goodness, finally, we got people with the kahunas, the marbles, to fight fire with fire in dealing with how things are being done in Washington or from Washington. Now we got people, because this is one of the reasons why I absolutely adored the Trump presidency. I didn't always agree with what the man did. I didn't always agree with what the man said. I didn't. He needed to shut the hell up on Twitter. He really did, because Trump runned his mouth. That's why I now have the Twitter handle of Trump runs his mouth. Why? Because Trump did that. But the Twitter handle, the Twitter feed of the real Donald Trump, it didn't affect policy. He was running his mouth. But President Trump taught us to fight, that fighting can allow us to win. That's what Trump taught us with his presidency, with his constant attacks by the left. That's what it taught us. And now to see people finally punching back, oh, glorious. More on that when I get back. Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs. All right, and we're back. So, guys, I'll tell you what, I am going to love this one. And, you know, okay, like I was saying in the beginning of the show today, that there's like 63 articles, double the amount of what I normally have. So there's going to be a butt ton of different stuff that I'm going to be including into this, but we're just going to breeze through most of these headlines. And a lot of this is just going to be me going through the actual magazine and just reading off some headlines because we got some stuff to talk about with this. Let's go ahead and get started. Oh, I'm so super excited. Oh, this is so much fun. All right, so woosah. This is fun. Finally, people punching back. Now, I don't know if y'all have been hearing about what's been going on from both sides. I don't know if you've been hearing, okay? But not that long ago, Vice President Harris was asked about, please don't go, please, okay, cool. She was being asked about the condition of the southern border. And she said, with the utmost sincerity and truthfulness and honesty in her heart, that the southern border is secure. That, yeah, we've got some work to do, but the southern border is secure. We've done the best that we can so far. We had a broken southern border whenever we came here, but we're doing the best that we can, and by all intents and purposes, the southern border is closed. That's what came out of her mouth. Now, let me put a little bit of this in the context right quick for you. The southern border was effectively closed prior to Biden coming into office. The last fiscal year, well, remember I had to burp. Hold on a second. Whew, I got a drink. Oh, good old-fashioned sweet tea. It's amazing. We had a closed border. The stay in Mexico order, which basically said if you come over here, then you're just getting kicked out immediately. If you want to apply for amnesty, you can do it the right way and apply at an embassy in Mexico. You want to do it, that's how you do it. That's the legal way of doing it. That's how you need to be doing it. You see, Obama, oh my God, Trump had the audacity to actually follow the law. Last time I checked, the oath of office that the president takes is to faithfully execute the laws of the land and of the Constitution. So help me God, that's what they said that they were going to do. President Trump had the audacity to actually do it. So the stay-in-home order was the thing. This wasn't an executive order as much as it was an adherence to the law. Written by who? By Congress. the ones that actually have the power to write laws, well, they wrote the immigration laws too. It's amazing. So I mean, here you have AOC and the like that want to berate ICE and everything on how they execute the laws. But in all honesty, they're not executing the laws how they see fit. They are executing the laws how the Congress actually put in their law for that law to be executed. So they're complaining about how ICE is doing their job. And it's like, woman, shush, because it was a woman that I don't remember if this was Kamala Harris or if this was AOC. I'm pretty sure it was AOC. Actually. But it was like, honey, sweetheart, girly girl, I'm executing the laws the way they were written by Congress. If you have problem with that, then maybe you and your peeps should do your job and write a better law. Holy crap, novel idea, right? That's more or less what he said. I'm executing the law. I'm adhering to my oath of office. Why don't you do your job? And if you have a problem with the law, why don't you change the law? They want to talk about amnesty. They want to talk about just letting people cross the border. But what we haven't seen since before the Reagan administration is we haven't seen Congress actually do their job and make a better mousetrap. The mousetrap is broken. It doesn't work. Well, then fix it. Don't just let illegals cross the border and do absolutely nothing about it. Fix the mousetrap, for crying out loud. Good grief. What? That's what we got, people. Fix it. They don't want to fix it. Why? Because they want amnesty. They want, we'll get into that. They want something out of this. They really do. Not just the Democrats, but the Republicans too, because the Republicans don't do anything to fix it either. This isn't just, whipping of the Democrat Party. This is a whipping of all of them because they're all guilty of this, establishment Republicans and Democrats alike. I ain't giving anybody a free pass on this. They're all guilty. Anyway, but you have Harris saying that. So you had the stay in Mexico order. You had the wall, I believe, like 500 plus miles got built. And right upon President Joe Biden taking office, what was the first couple things that he did? Like the first week of his presidency, he wrote a ton of executive orders. One of which was doing away with the stay in Mexico order. Excuse me, effectively saying to the world, hey, our southern border is wide the F open. That's what he said. Now, wouldn't you know it, because here's the thing that I forgot to say earlier. All these things that President Trump was doing was working. The border was effectively closed. Don't believe me? Well, ICE, whom worked a hell of a lot better under President Trump's administration, because President Trump actually said, do your job. And they wanted to do their job. There was more of them with more resources to do the job. They only had about 900, well, not even 900. It was under 900 interactions per fiscal year of President Trump's last year in office. Let me say that again. President Trump's last year of office, the last fiscal year, the entire year, 12 months. Under President Trump, with the stay-at-home or stay-in-Mexico order, the wall being built, more ICE agents on the border covering, doing their job with more resources, only had 900, not even 900 interactions with illegal aliens that entire time. Biden got rid of all that. He stopped building the wall. Not only did he stop building the wall, he said, well, we can't really sell this stuff because we don't have the authority to do that. But we don't want these people to come down here and build it on their own. We don't want these Republicans just hiring people out to build it. So we're going to put armed guards to guard the building material so the wall doesn't get built. That's why it was still costing us money, because that's what the Biden administration was doing. Not that we're just not going to build it. We're going to keep the building material here, and we are going to guard it so nobody else can build it either. That's what they did. They effectively told the entire world that the country is open for business. And now is what we have in this last fiscal year, or I'm sorry, the fiscal year so far. The Biden administration is averaging way more than that, somewhere around 1,200 interactions per month. Over 30% more of the entire fiscal year. Biden is averaging more than that a month. And yet they're going to have the nerve, the audacity to say the southern border is wide closed. Yeah. Awesome, isn't it? But here's the reality of it, though. That's not what's going on. This headline from the New York Post. This is not a bastion of conservatism. This is the New York Post. 500 migrants sneak across Texas border in just 2 hours, and they have the video proof to actually back it up. Here's one of the pictures of that right here. Over 500. This is a number that is going to blow your freaking mind. Over 376,000 migrants have been nabbed in the neighboring Del Rio sector, and 228,000 in El Paso this fiscal year. Nearly 8,000 migrants are now crossing the southern border each day, according to data obtained by NBC News. Now, here's the things. These are just the ones that we know about. The border is undermanned. It's underguarded. It is open for business. They tried to say on a news broadcast, it's not like people are just walking across the border. And in the meantime, you had other people that were showing a video of people just walking across the border like it ain't nothing, like they're walking inside Walmart. Open for business. They're going into 7-Eleven. People aren't just walking across the border, but yet the screen was showing that very thing happening. Okay. This border crisis is a crisis for all Americans. Why? Because it is a crisis that we are all going to have to pay for in the end, period. This thing in here, I believe the headline says something to the effect of, Biden administration has a false narrative of the southern border. Let me find this one that I'm actually looking for. Here we go. This headline from the New York Post again. Biden's open borders will cost taxpayers $100 billion and counting. That is billion with a B. Billion with a B. That's how much money this is going to cost the American taxpayers. Now, here's the thing. They like to say that we are absolutely crazy for putting people in there, like the great replacement theory, that what you have going on is being designed by the left. They are being assisted from establishment Republicans. They want this to happen because of what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to bring enough people across the border to silence your vote so that this way it doesn't matter what happens. That the Democrats will never lose power again. And the Republicans are okay with this because, there's a lot of establishment in there that just because of where they're at, they feel as though their job is secure for as long as they are willing to sit in the seat, kind of like Mitch McConnell. Senator Lindsey Graham. People like that. That it's okay. But what we've been having going on recently, oh yeah, is something that is absolutely amazing. Okay, because we have the mayor of El Paso. I don't remember what that guy's name is. But guys, let me tell you this. There's something that Andrew Wilkow says on the Wilkow Majority Channel 125 Sirius XM Satellite Radio. That if you bring all the population from there to here, soon here will become there. What do I mean by that? Well, simply put, that if you keep letting these illegals come across the southern border, we are going to be no better than a third world nation, because that's what we have going on in El Paso and other border cities right now. Conditions down there are bad. They are horrible. They live better in some third world nations than what is going on down there in El Paso and some of the other places. Now, here's the thing, though, too. El Paso, this isn't just stuff that's being perpetrated, and I'll get into what's being perpetrated, by conservatives. The mayor of El Paso is a Democrat, and even he is doing what Governor DeSantis and from Florida and the dude from Texas, Abbott, what he's doing as well. Because it's what they've started to do, and of which case, more freaking power to you. This is what they need to be doing. They are carting these illegal aliens over to places who claim to be sanctuary cities. You know, the ones who are making the very policies that are saying that we need to let them over here. They have been carting illegal aliens up to Washington, D.C. You want them, you take them. They've been carting them to the very house of where Vice President Harris lives at the naval base. You want them, you take them. To the very town of where President Joe Biden lives in Delaware. You want them, you take them. Taking them up to Chicago. You want them, Mayor Lightfoot, you take them, because all these places are claiming to be sanctuary cities. Going to New York City, going out to LA, going to other different places around there, carting them everywhere. You want them, you take them. That's what they're doing. Oh, but it gets better. Ron DeSantis put 50 immigrants on a couple planes, a total of 50 people, sent them out to Martha's Vineyard. Because they too claim to be a sanctuary city. You want them, honey, you take them. What happened? Every single one of these people won Martha's Vineyard. They put them back on the plane or on a bus or wherever. I have no idea. Got rid of them lickety-split, quicker than shit, as quickly as they could possibly do it. Got them illegal aliens right back out the door. Sanctuary city, but she ain't welcome here. Lori Lightfoot up in Chicago did the same freaking thing. Gavin Newsom up there in New York, or maybe I got the wrong name of the person, the individual, but this is out in New York, the great city of New York, a sanctuary city, freaking out over people getting bussed up to him. In Washington, D.C., they're freaking out. A fraction of what they have to put up with in Texas is getting sent to their cities, making them put up with it. This is now being set at the doorstep of the very people that have allowed this crap to happen. And I am absolutely loving it. It's about freaking time. And it was Greg Abbott who said, we're going to keep busting these people up there as long as they keep the borders wide open. And what is funny is you have AOC, you got Biden, you got all kinds of people that are saying crap like this. This article from the Rolling Stone, let me get rid of that stinking pop-up. DeSantis flying migrants to Martha's Vineyard may have violated federal law, experts say. Are you kidding me? Governor DeSantis calls out CNN segment for comparing migrant transport to the Holocaust. They're claiming that them The DeSantis putting them on some planes with amenities and everything else. They still have a bathroom, equivalent to throwing Jews in the gas chamber to kill them. Are you freaking kidding me? And I got all kinds of articles in here, guys. Let me tell you, some of these things are absolutely hilarious. There's some in here with AOC. But yeah, absolutely freaking hilarious. They're basically wanting to prosecute him over DeSantis having the gall, having the cojones to actually send a couple planes up there to Martha's Vineyard. But here's the thing. They're saying that him doing this is so wrong because you shouldn't be using people as a political pawn. Wait a second. Have we not been paying attention to what's been going on the past couple years of Biden's presidency? Because what has Biden been doing? All these illegals that's coming up, he's been putting them on buses and he's been distributing them throughout the nation, primarily to red states, for the purpose of turning them blue, hoping that these people that he's allowing to come in is going to be so grateful that they're going to just vote blue. Yeah, that's what's going on. Biden sent 70 planes to Jackson, Mississippi last year. Why aren't they calling trafficking? Why aren't they claiming that Biden's guilty of human trafficking? Kidnapping is another thing that AOC brought up, accusing him of kidnapping. All this other kind of stuff. So wait, you mean to tell me that this is okay for Biden to do it, the Democrats to do it, to cart these illegal aliens through the dead of night in airports that are primarily unused by most people, so most people don't see what's happening, because that's also another thing that has happened. And somehow, when DeSantis does it, when Greg Abbott does it, oh, we've got to throw a tissy fit. The hypocrisy is unreal. Is what he is doing is he is putting the problem right at the front door of the decision makers, the very people who are directly responsible to what's going on. Biden, Hillary Clinton, the Obamas out there in Martha's Vineyard. That's what they're doing. And they ain't having none of it. Now, all of a sudden, this is something huge. Whenever DeSantis says it, whenever Arizona says it, when New Mexico says it, that we need help down here, they just say that, oh, you're just being political. You're just, they're making fun of them. And then now they get a fraction of a fraction in these various cities. And for some reason, the sky is freaking falling. They're upset. They're getting rid of them. They're declaring a national emergency and demanding money from the federal government, saying, we need help. Wow. Are you kidding me? Man, why is this thing doing that? Did I say Jackson, Mississippi? Dave said that he sent them to Jackson, Mississippi. Aren't they had clean water problem from the floods? Oh, I meant Jacksonville, Florida. That's what I meant. I don't know if what I said. I have no idea. Thank you for calling me on that, Dave. But yeah, Jacksonville, Florida is where he was sending into 7 plane loads. And that was perfectly okay. And did he send migrants down there to Jackson, Mississippi? Who was in DeSantis, or are you talking Biden? I'm kind of curious on there. But the Democrats are okay with this immigration problem, NIMBY. As long as it's not in their backyard, they are perfectly fine with what's going on. Perfectly fine. They're good with it. Dave puts in here and goes, no worries, that's what I heard, but I may have heard incorrectly. Oh, dude, I may have spoken incorrectly. I have been known to do that. I'll take full responsibility for that one, because there's a very good possibility that's what I said. But yeah, sending him to Jacksonville, Florida, 70 plane loads of them. But the Democrats are okay with this stuff going on in Florida with illegal aliens. They're okay with illegal aliens in Texas. They're okay with illegal aliens in New Mexico and Arizona. They're okay with illegal aliens being transported to all these red states because they're being used as political pawns to try to benefit them in the upcoming election. You mentioned Biden. I was surprised that you said he sent 5 planes to Jackson, Mississippi. Oh, okay. Anyway. But they are not okay with these illegal aliens being sent to their state, dropped off in their city, right on the sidewalk at their own front door. The problems are okay, as long as it is not in my backyard. That's what's going on, guys. And I have got so many flippant articles in here that it is not even funny. The hypocrisy that is coming out of the left is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's unbelievable. And they think that they're going to get away with it. And I'm sure that in some large part that they probably will. People seem to have the memory of an ostrich. They got their head buried in the sand. They don't want to know the truth. Why? Because that means that maybe they were wrong on who they voted for in the last election. And nobody wants to be proven wrong. Of course not. We're going to defend this president for better or for worse. Isn't that something that was talked about in The Matrix? Some people will defend it and die for it, regardless of it being wrong. But ignorance is bliss. And people like ignorance. Because, man, does that steak taste delicious, and the alternative doesn't taste so good. Nobody wants that much truth. Nobody does. Just being honest with you. So we're going to talk a little bit whenever I come back about the economy. Last segment. We're almost done. I promise. One more quick break. And I'll be right back. Do you work at any of the myriad of jobs where you might have to sit on your bum all day? Well, if so, maybe you know what it's like to suffer from the condition known as swamp ass. Well, if so, have I got the solution for you?
Anti-monkey butt powder.
That's right.
Anti-monkey butt powder.
You can use it indoors, outdoors, work or play, or on any occasion when you sit on your bum all day. Don't let your buns get red. Use anti-monkey butt powder instead. Available wherever anti-friction powder is sold. All right, and we're back. You know, I wouldn't have normally taken a break right there, but, you know, I had my screen was just full of tabs, and I had a lot of scrolling to do to get down there to the next section of articles that I needed. Dave put in here, he goes, they're hopefully going to lose big in the midterms, and man, I hope so. I think the abortion issue is the only thing that they have that helps them. Yeah. Because I do. I agree with what, you know, as much as I disagree with Lindsey Graham for introducing the anti-abortion law, I do agree with the sentiment that most people, common sense, you know, I heard, I think the comedian's name is Bill Burr. You know, I love his humor. I really do. He makes things funny. He makes the point. He makes you think about it. And in the end, you agree with him. But he was talking about the whole abortion thing. He's like, you know, with the whole my body, but my choice. He's like, you know, I agree with that. I understand that. I completely agree with that. However, I still believe that you're killing a baby. You know, because if I put batter in a pan and I throw it in the oven, and 5 minutes later, you walk over to that oven, you open up the door, you take the pan out, and you throw it on the floor, I'm going to be pissed. Why did you destroy my cake? And you might come back with, well, it wasn't a cake. It wasn't a cake. Well, not yet, but if you would have left it in the oven, it would have been the same thing. The only difference between a fetus and a baby is on what side of the birth canal you're on. That's it. Is that really a difference? Well, apparently legally it is. But if that's your only difference, I mean, that's like, you know, what day it is. I mean, like, it determines how old you are, you know, like the difference between, like, you know, 29 and 30, or do you really feel different at 30? Do you really feel different whenever you cross that boundary, that magical boundary of now I'm 40, now I'm 50, whatever the case may be? Do you really feel different, or is it just another day? But yeah, I get that. I think, you know, I agree with his sentiment on what he said, that most people agree with him. Yeah. But the loudest voice out there are the voices like AOC, Ilhan Omar, and some of these other people out there. Anyway, let's head on over and finish up with this last segment. This headline from Newsmax, Representative Warren Davison to Newsmax. Biden taps strategic oil reserve to juice the midterms. Because, guys, that's exactly what's been going on. We've been seeing a slight decrease at the pump, But we've been seeing this at the expense of our strategic oil reserves being diminishing, because that's what Biden is doing. He's not allowing the oil to be produced here at home. He's not allowing us to gain energy independence again, like what we had under former President Donald J. Trump. Instead, we have to rely on people that hate us, that chant death to America. And our strategic oil reserves is at its lowest point that it's been since, oh, holy crap. I know I remember reading it somewhere, but it's been a very long time ago that our oil reserves has been this low. And ladies and gentlemen, might I inform you that this is really, really bad for national security? Think about what's going on over in Germany right now. What do we got? Germany pushing back on Russia. Russia is piping oil right into them. You want to go against me, Germany? You want to do that? Well, fine. I'm going to reduce the oil output by 50%. I want to cut it in half. Let's see how things go this winter for you, and then maybe you guys will understand your place and learn to shut the hell up. That's what's going on. We had the ability to say, oh, that's absolutely true. Dave puts in there, he goes, diesel isn't down like regular gas. Oh, you're absolutely right. Diesel is still up there. Holy crap. Holy crap. Diesel is definitely up there. But we had, under President Trump, we were a net exporter of oil for the first time in history, for the first time that we've even been drilling our own oil and using our own oil, we were a net exporter of oil. And that went by the wayside because of the attack on the oil industry by Biden and the left. So now, in order to help the midterms, to beef up the numbers, what he's been doing is tapping into the oil supply, our national reserve oil supply. But here's the thing, though, guys. We are dependent upon other people's oil. This is a huge, like I was saying, a huge national security risk. And whenever we were energy independent, not only could we not have to worry about our oil supply being dependent on the willingness of another nation to sell it to us, but we could also make it to where other countries like Germany weren't so dependent upon Russian oil. We chose not to leverage that as power. That was power that we gave up. We gave to OPEC. We gave it to Russia willingly. Gave it away. Power that we had, we gave it away. But of course it gets worse because, we also have a butt ton of rare earth, lithium, stuff that, we can make our own batteries, but, President Biden chose to put a moratorium on that, saying, oh no, we can't be drilling for that. We can't be mining for that. We'll let it be done in the third world. You can't claim that you're doing this for the sake of the climate, for the planet. You can't claim that whenever you're allowing it to be done and paying other people to do it that don't do it as efficiently, that don't do it as economically, that don't do it as clean as we do it. And we have safety protocols and regulations that makes the people that are mining it safer. And we have child labor laws that says that, you can't be in that mine if you ain't of a certain age. But yet it's okay for us to pay China to do the mining that has horrible work conditions, that has children in the mines doing it. Because how else are we supposed to clean the insides of these little bitty bullets? The children's hands is the only thing we can use, so we got to keep the children. If you've ever seen Schindler's List, You know the movie reference on that one. Holocaust. And they don't have the environmental restrictions. So, I mean, if this was about the climate, protecting the planet, then they would be opening the door to where this could be done here at home. But they don't care about the planet because they want it to be done somewhere else, because they want to kill American jobs. They want to kill American production. They want to destroy the American economy. They want to kill capitalism, because that's what this is, a war on capitalism. This isn't a war on oil. This is a war on capitalism. They don't care about that. Otherwise, they would be doing it here. But yet people don't seem to understand that. I mean, I know you guys do. You guys understand that. So one of the things, so he's falsifying the numbers, making it sound like it's not as bad as what it is, to try to bolster the fuel prices to help out right before the midterm election. And he is jeopardizing national security to do it. He jeopardizes national security when he shut down drilling and exploration here in the States. He shut it down. Unacceptable. Got a couple more headlines. Let's just look at that right quick. I got this one from, hey, that's the one I just got done doing. Will polling be proved wrong again? Because there's a lot of poll numbers has been released here recently with the gaps closing even in Democrat-controlled cities to be within the margin of error. We are looking amazing whenever it comes to winning back the Senate and winning back the House. They are predicting a huge red wave. That's what they're predicting. Because another thing that they're kind of predicting is that there's a lot of people out there, too many to really account for, too many to predict, too many to really get accurate numbers on, that aren't being honest and truthful for, fear of, maybe an IRS agent knocking on their door, because they already know that they like to and want to use the IRS for as political hit piece, political mob, that they're not getting accurate numbers when it comes to polls. Are the polls going to be wrong? I don't know. How much are they going to cheat? I don't know that either. And since we're kind of on the whole voting thing, this headline from the Daily Signal. Court rules mail voting law is illegal under Delaware Constitution. And I really can't comment about that because YouTube has already made it perfectly clear that I'm not allowed to talk about the election of 2020. I'm not allowed to do that because I almost lied to you and said that my opinion doesn't matter, but I wasn't talking my opinion when I gave a lot of this information out last time. I wasn't talking opinion. I was talking verifiable, factual, looked it up, information regarding rules, laws that were written regarding how elections are supposed to be done, and they were ignored by the judicial branch of various states and by the executive branch of various states in direct violation of the Constitution. Not just federal Constitution, but a lot of these state constitutions as well. But apparently, that's okay. That doesn't mean anything. So I can't talk about that kind of stuff. Or at least not on YouTube. Because, you know, I had no other pushback, no pushback from Facebook. I had no pushback from the Twitter. I had no pushback from Spreaker. But I did get pushback from YouTube. And since we're talking about social media, Ermiger, I have got to tell you about this. I had totally forgotten about this. Wow, this is awesome. So here's the thing. I heard something a while back ago about something dealing with the Facebooks, okay? And I heard something this week on something dealing with the Twitter pages. I heard some stuff that y'all are going to want to listen to and be mindful about. Who should we talk about first? Should we talk about the Twitter pages or should we talk about the Facebookers? I ain't got a pen or a penny. I don't know. Flip a coin. Flip. I forgot how to do that there for a second. All right, we're going to talk about Facebooks, okay? Here's what Facebook did. Is what Facebook had been doing is they have been hacking into the personal messages of people on the right. People that were unhappy with the election results. People whom were maybe blowing off some steam. Not people that posted stuff, but these were private messages clearly violating their terms of service agreement. Okay? They leaked this to the FBI. The FBI took this leaked information. They went to a judge and said, hey, we want a court order. We want a subpoena to look at this information on these people. We want that. And so they got it. Of course they did. They got it because what the left does is they shop around for judges that are Democrats and operate on the Democrat lines. Doesn't matter about the Constitution. And so that's what they did. So they got the subpoena to go to the FBI, to go to Facebook and get this information. That's what the FBI went to Facebook and said, hey, you know this information that somehow was leaked to us? Well, we now have a subpoena to get this information. And the Facebook went, oh, here you go. Ready, lickety split, quicker and shit, because they had it, that they were already gathering all that because it was done on purpose. They wanted this to happen. So immediately, just like that, the information was ready. Amazing. And the FBI went through this information and said, this is a whole lot of a nothing burger. You know, these are people that are upset, that are blowing off some steam. Nothing that's being talked about here is illegal activity. This is a big old nothing burger that we ain't doing anything with. So I give it up to these individual FBI agents that did this. You know, again, it's not the agents themselves that did bad. This is the decision makers. This is the people close to the top. The people that make the big bucks. These are the ones that need to be cleared out. That need to be gotten rid of. That need to be told who's boss, the American people, we, the people. It's not the individual agents. Most of them are good people just doing their job. And this is good for the FBI. Bad for Facebook. Because let me recap on that just a second. Facebook violated the terms of service of people whom were talking in private messenger. They leaked the information to the FBI so they would be investigated for domestic terrorism. Yeah. I hope that hit you as hard as it hit me. I mean, I wasn't surprised. But since we're on social media, let's talk about the Twitter pages. Did you know that over at Twitter, They care more about revenue than what they care about security of their users. I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that have all kind of useful information that any hacker would just love to get their greedy little hands on over there at Facebook. Or I'm sorry, over there at Twitter. Personal information, geological, geo-tracking information, search information, all kinds of stuff. And here's the thing that I bet you didn't know about. Every single Twitter employee has access to your very personal private information because they do not believe in security at Twitter. Every single over 1,000 employees has access to all your personal information over on Twitter. Did you hear what I said, people? They don't believe in security over there because they would much rather do things to up the platform to bring in people instead of worrying about, I mean, who could be bothered with this little bitty thing called security? Protecting user information, private, sensitive information. Who cares about that? Could this be one of the things that Elon Musk didn't like, which is why he pulled out, because he was trying to renegotiate the asking price of Twitter, and they said, no, we're not changing the price. And he said, look, this company ain't worth what you claimed it was worth. There's way too many bots that you were claiming as real people, and you're trying to sell them as real people. If I'm going to have this company be what it needs to be, I'm going to have to spend a buttload of money to update the security of this website because you guys couldn't be bothered with it. Is this the reason why Elon Musk backed out of the Twitter deal? Or at least one of them? It kind of seems like it, doesn't it? Because they may be forced to spend a butt ton of money. And even still, do you really, I mean, Facebook's already on the decline and has been for a while. Okay? People aren't using the site near as much as they used to be. And I'm not completely sure about Twitter. Because especially since, you know, the rumors of the Elon Musk takeover, that things in Twitter has been dwindling down because of the amount of bots that was on the platform, that they decided they were no longer going, you know, that they had to shut down to make real numbers and to make it, you know, look better on the selling board. You know, it's like, oh, we got to get rid of all these bots. Okay. I don't know. Is Facebook or Twitter ever going to be able to reclaim their former glory? Are they going to be able to win over the faith of the people who used to use their sites, social media? I don't know. This isn't like back in the day before Facebook, whenever you only had MySpace. We have options now. There's Rumble. There's True Social. There's Getter. There's all kinds of different places. We're not stuck on just Facebook or Twitter. We have options now. This isn't like there's only one king of the mountain. We're on a range of mountains. We got all kinds of places we can go to. We're not stuck at one place in one time. Will they ever win back the faithfulness of the people? Or are these two companies in the near future going to be dead to the water or dead in the water? I don't know. These are good questions. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank y'all very much for sticking around, for being part of the conversation. I greatly do appreciate it. Y'all are amazing and awesome. Thank you very much for your comments. for listening. And I would very much invite you to head on over to thehohoshow.com. If you have not subscribed to the newsletter, please do that. There are benefits to be found in the newsletter. Things that you will only get in the newsletter, benefits, holy crap, because I'm going to be utilizing more in the days and the months to come. Actually, starting next week, I'm going to be doing this. So please head on over to thehohoshow.com, scroll on down towards the bottom of the homepage, and you will see that subscribe, and go ahead and put your email in there. And this way you'll get those, you'll get different notifications, and you'll get those benefits that are only to be had while, if you subscribe to the newsletter. And just so you know, for next week as well, I'm going to be doing the show at a different time. I am going to be pushing it up to, what time was that? 2 o'clock? Yeah, 2 p.m. So 2 p.m. Central, that is 1400 hours, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and back it up for Mountain and Pacific. Going on at 2 p.m. instead of my normal 7 p.m. So I'm doing that. I got something going on later on in the night, and I won't be able to do that if I do the show at 7. So instead of pushing it back to Sunday, we're going to be doing it just a little bit earlier in the day, pushing it up 5 hours on Saturday. So I do definitely hope to see you there. And since there was so much information that was still left untouched in my Flipboard magazine, you can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab, and there you will see I hit my microphone. There you'll see the magazine on Facebook, and check out all that stuff. I definitely recommend and invite people to do that, because I try to hold myself accountable for what I say on the show. Yes, I am biased. I'm a conservative. But I'm not going to let my biasness, my political leanings determine the truth. I'm going to give you the truth. If that makes my party look bad, then that makes my party look bad. It is what it is. I am a principled conservative. I want to be fact-checked. And if I make a mistake on something I say, please let me know so I can correct the record, so I can make things right. I want to do that because I respect what I do. I respect the show, and I respect those who listen and those who view. And I thank you for that. Keep me straight. Keep me honest. I may misspeak, and I love it whenever people correct me on that. And there's a handful of you that do, and thank you so much for doing that. Because there's one of the things that I do all the time is with the CBS, the Peacock. I can't get that straight in my head for nothing. I don't know why, but Linda's always there to help me out, and I appreciate it a lot. She's amazing. And Dave, you're there too, and you're amazing as well. I appreciate you. Brian over there, y'all are amazing. I appreciate you. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of the show. Head on over to thehohoshow.com. Click on that subscribe. See y'all next time. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.